Welcome to another edition of Truth Seekers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome, Kareema, today with me, Coach Nick, and Coach Josh. Today we're talking about planning again, getting stuck in more on planning. So kick us off, Coach. Where are you with your thought process on the depth of this important area?
I want to get some concrete results here. So planning, what's the next level of planning is goal setting. We have things we want to achieve, right? So how can we come up with a logical process to get all that we want in our business? And I think this is a great segue to introduce Kareema. And Kareema, talk to us about what you're building and maybe a little bit of background and how planning and goal setting at the highest level has served you.
Okay. I think planning is super important. Not only in your professional life, but your personal life, which goes hand in hand. So I kind of was in a rut where I'm just going through the motions. I'm just working, getting up, drinking my peppermint tea, eating my oatmeal, doing the same routine, going to work, do my best at work. But it came to a point where I was like, okay, what's next? What do I want? I had to ask myself, what does Kareema want? Not worrying about everybody else, not worrying about, I love my job. I do a good job, but what do I want personally and professionally? So that's when planning got involved. I had to start planning, what's the next step? So I just finished getting my bachelor's degree, June of 2020, which took me many of years to finish, but I had to sit myself down and have that conversation. Like, when are you going to finish school? Like, do you want to finish school? Is this something that you feel is going to be beneficial to you? So I had to actually just plan it out and say, you know what? I don't have that much longer to go, and just kind of plan out, do I need the meal prep? Do I need to do little things that's going to free up time for me to finish school, to kind of think about my goals in life? So I finally did it. I said, you know what? I'm not going to stop. It was hard too. I was planning a wedding, so I'm out here, trying to just get my whole life in order. So I finally graduated. But before, about 6 to 7 months before I graduated, I started thinking about business plans and what did I want to do. I always wanted to start a business, but I felt like I needed to check off some of these goals that I had on my list first. So I said, okay, stop trying to say you're going to open this business, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. What is your number one thing that you want to do first? So I said, okay, finish school. But in the meanwhile, I had like 6-7 months left. I said, okay, I could start planning things now. So I was like, what do I like? What do I enjoy? And that's when the tea business came to mind, because I'm like already a tea fanatic. I was studying it just a little bit. And I started researching and looking into like how other people are starting online businesses. Then with COVID, that's when everybody was like coming up with these great ideas. So I was like, let me join the crowd, And so then I started really I had to write out a business plan. You always say that you want to do something, but if you're not writing it down, I have like probably about 8 notebooks near me right now. And it's funny too, because the other day I was going through some paperwork because we just purchased a new home, me and my husband. And when you move, that's when you realize all the stuff that you've just been collecting and you don't need anymore. But when I found these notes that I wrote, it was like notes about what did I want to do. And I started writing about tea and different teas. And I had like all these papers, look, all these notes. So, and I'm saving these too, because it just reminds me of where I started. So that's when I started coming up with my business name. I started coming up with who did I want to target, and then how I was going to juggle everything. I still have my day job. I still love my job. And I have to make sure that I'm not slacking off at work, that I'm getting the work done. I'm still putting in 8 hours, so I had to prioritize how I was going to start this business.
There's so much here. So it's amazing. But I think for me, the quick takeaway from what you just mentioned is that it's becoming aware of what you wanted first, right? Mm-hmm. So the plan is the next progressive part of that process. So the first part, would we all agree, is just checking into what's important. What do we want that would even be worthy of us developing a plan around?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because it has to be something actionable, you know. I could have said I wanted to build a hotel in Dubai, you know. Is it something I can achieve now or 6 months from now? So just
Yeah.
writing like a timeline of when you think you could do it, you know. Doesn't have to be big steps. It could just be baby steps, you know, like creating a name for my business. I was like, okay, I wrote all these names down. I was like, I gotta stop playing around and just come up with a name and stick to it. And that's what I did. I was like, all right, in 30 days, I'm gonna decide what my name of my business is gonna be. And then I kept saying January 1st, 2021, I'm gonna start, kept pushing the date back. And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stick to my original date of October 1st. And I wasn't ready, but I did it anyway. I pushed myself. So sometimes you have to push yourself too. You know, I was like, I could do it. And I launched on October 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
Cool. So
Thank
cool.
you.
So much stuff to unpack. And maybe we don't need to unpack all of it, just keep it in the suitcase. But there's some interesting things like the leverage you have over yourself is really fascinating to me, Kareema, because that pushback on the date, like setting something out there, pushing it back, happens a lot because things come up in our lives. We tell ourselves all types of stories that we don't follow through on it. What was it that made you stop and say, "Hey, no, that's not good enough"? October the 1st, I'm gonna start anyway.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not ready, and that's okay.
Past behaviors that I had to really sit myself down and recognize that I have been a procrastinator over the years on things that I want to do or things that I want to achieve. And I just had to push myself and say, you know what, I'm scared. You know, I don't think I'm ready. You know, is anyone going to buy my tea? I had to just push those thoughts away and say, you know what? And I made a post on social media, so it was no going back then. I made a post, I think it was around September 1st. And I started announcing it and people started chiming in. I was like, see, you can't go back now because people are going to keep asking you about it. So I kind of did that to myself too. I was like, oh man, I told these people to look out for my business and I'm not ready. So.
Super cool. Yeah, I'm always saying you want to rig the game so you can win.
Yeah.
And I think an environment we know is one of the biggest indicators of change. So if you can create something outside of you which compels you to create the way to go forward, then you have nothing but a choice to do that, right? It's almost like you're creating this box around you where you've got the sum of the pain of I've been a procrastinator before, I'm not ready, what if no one buys it? And there's some pain there. And normally we want to just avoid that pain by not doing it.
Right.
You've created the opposite pain of, well, it's more painful to not do it now than to do it. Therefore, and the reason that I know that is because you did it, right? That's it. That's the proof, right? The proof is you did it.
Yeah.
So it's manipulating the environment to you, manipulating yourself from your psychology to deliver through. It's so super cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of self-healing too. You know, we all have traumas, whether it's work-related, personal, or family. We all have some kind of something that we're dealing with, or something we don't like, or somebody says something to us that kind of put us down and making us doubt ourselves. And then we do it to ourselves too. I'm not Lipton, I'm not Bigelow. Who's gonna want to buy my tea? But you have to take those thoughts and kind of like change your thought patterns. So
you talked about, sorry to interrupt, you talked about making it actionable. Can I achieve it? So what's the antidote to those thoughts? Like you said, I'm scared, I'm not ready, I'll push them away. Then you set up that environment. But from a principle perspective, what's the antidote for moving towards where you do want to move to, and not just focusing on the things you don't?
I think it's just trying to stay positive, and I do a lot of listening. Like I go to YouTube and listen to other people. It's okay to have like mentors, even if they don't know they're your mentor. It's okay to have a mentor to, listen to other people's ideas. I would take a walk in the morning and I would just have my headphones on, listening to YouTube with other people that started online businesses and listen to how they juggled a full-time job, family life, in a small business, and just kind of get ideas from other people. Because sometimes you just don't know it all. I know I don't. So I learned that way. I do a
Wait,
lot.
wait, wait! You don't know it all?
No, not everything.
Oh, not really.
Not everything, but because sometimes you think you know it all, you know, you just might make the wrong decision. So I think it's okay to talk to family, to talk to friends, you know, just to open your mind up to other ideas.
Sure. I love what you said there as well around taking a walk, like using your physiology, moving around, like creating that emotion from doing that. And then as you're doing that, what you're focusing on is other people that have been successful in similar endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving yourself references on top of references on top of references that this is possible. Drilling it in, it's like that. They can do it. They're a similar person, similar position for me. They can do it. They can do it. They can do it. And if all you're creating is that environment where it's full of people that have been successful about what you're successful, what you want to be successful at, that's what you're going to think, and you start to move towards that. Right? And so that's a really cool distinction that you share. Thanks so much for that.
No, no problem. I think it's important to not just keep it all to yourself either. Share your ideas. Some people are scared, oh, somebody's going to steal my idea. And no, just share it. You know, it's okay to share and share your fears too. Sometimes we always want to be so strong. Like I'm the strong one. I can handle everything. It's okay to talk to other people to get advice.
Right. Yeah. There's some strength in being vulnerable, right? Just
Yeah.
that admission that you don't know everything, or that you like another perspective, gives you what you're looking for. Like it's just part of asking for it, which is almost, I see a relation in the plan. Like, why not me? Why can't I have a good business,
Mm-hmm.
a successful business? Why can't I earn a certain amount of money? Why can't I have what I want? Because anybody who's ever achieved anything intentional has had a plan. And so to take this to the next level, I think part of the plan is developing milestones and then being able to track your activity or your actions. I'm just
Right.
curious, Kareema, how have you done that in your business with your pursuit here?
Number one, I, like I said, I like to write everything down. So now I'm trying to see how I could transfer that into some kind of program that I could use. So now I have a spreadsheet that I use. I use Shopify, which is very helpful. And I'm learning how to follow like my trends. So I have customers that are already repeat customers. So I was just looking at that before our session, and I was like, wow, I got people that ordered 3-4 times from me already. And I've only been open since October 1st, you know.
Wow. Yeah, it seems like a mountain. And then when you actually do it, it's like, oh, well, this is what it is. This is doable, right?
Right.
So I'm wondering, like, someone else who's thinking of starting a business, like, picture like you're on a podcast now and you're going to be on YouTube. Like, what would somebody else that's listening to you, that's thinking of starting their own business, what's a new level of value maybe that you didn't get from the videos that you did watch that you could share with them right now?
The first thing I would say is just don't do it because, oh, I want to make this amount of money by this. No, find something that you're passionate about, even if it takes 6 months to a year to figure that out. Because this is one thing that I hear people say, oh, I don't have any skills, or I don't know, I don't do nothing. I just work. Don't doubt yourself. There's always something that you're passionate about, even if you don't even know you're passionate about, or some kind of skill that you have. You could have something that's teachable and you just don't even realize it. You could be good at Excel. You could start doing Excel training classes. So just kind of really do something that's going to be, that's going to make you kind of happy. You don't want to start a business, and it's just, you're just doing it for the money, because what kind of satisfaction are you really going to get out of it? Especially if you have a full-time job and you're doing this business on the side, And I know there's people that do it, because I know people that do it, but, I think you'll be more passionate about it if it's something that you enjoy.
Yeah, it's funny as well, because you said a couple of people that do that, and I don't know who they are, but my bet is that they're sure there's some exceptions, but generally speaking, if you're doing it for the money, you're not going to make any money.
Right.
Because you need that passion to take you through. It's like what keeps you up late and gets you up early.
Right.
To follow that through.
Yeah.
Coach, why do you think? Kareema just alluded to the fact that people don't allow themselves or think that they're good at anything, or they're passionate about anything they want. Like, why do you think people believe that to be true of themselves?
I think that's true because people don't know how easy it could be. And Kareema kind of alluded to that. If you're good at Excel, that's a skill that other people don't have that they'd be willing to pay you money for. There's value in speeding up their understanding of how it works. And if you have an ability to speak the language that they speak, but also this Excel language and bridge that gap for them, money follows the value. It's a basic principle. So oftentimes we get caught up because we don't even think about it. Well, this is so natural to me. This is easy for me. Oh, people will pay me money. Like when you come to that realization, it's this moment where it's like, oh, well, this is what people talk about. Like it can be easy. I can make money. I can live passionately and also be paid for my services. And it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. You ever meet somebody that does a craft or creates things and you're like, where'd you get that from? I'm like, oh, I made this. You're like, really? They just, so.
It just started to go. Let's bring it back to the planning part of this as well, because I want to address here. We're talking about planning. We know it's important. Everything that you said, Kareema, in terms of starting your business, in terms of planning through your degree and planning through weddings and like it's all planning and it's like layered on top of each other. And then Coach talked about milestones and tracking, and you talked about writing stuff down, and that all those principles. Absolutely, that's why we're here talking about this. But I want to address something else, because in those things, a lot of people, when they hear that, they might think, planning. Like it's something inherently dry about that, because there's a lot of corporate language there. There's a lot of things that we've heard a lot that we can't get excited about, and some people have more internal drive based on other references and things they picked up in their life or experiences they've had than others. And that might take them through. So I wonder what your thoughts are on that, right? Because instead of planning, you might say dream casting. Instead of tracking, you might say, Kareema's fantastic view, like daily view, like or something.
Right.
Just have fun and create some language that where you look at it, it just makes you smile. Like you're being silly, helps you get there.
Right.
And just to add as much possible power as you can, as much horsepower as you can, to set yourself up to win.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, have you noticed that for yourself? Like, do you do that yourself?
Yeah. I think you have to take the, I dread getting up early. You got to take that out the equation. So for me, I get up when the roosters start roosting, when they outside, I'm up. So. So I get, I said it, with planning, it comes with time management as well. So planning and time management goes hand in hand. So I work a day job, I'm a supervisor on a team, so I work, 8 to 5, it varies. So in order for me to run a business, I can't do it between 8 to 5 because I'm working my job and I want to make sure I'm doing a good job. Right. So that leaves, I have to get up early in the morning if I want to work on my business. So I'm up between 4:30 and 5. That's my set time. That's my time because everybody in my household is asleep. It's quiet. I get a lot done. So between 4:30 and 5 and 7, that's my time. I call it my time. Sometimes I might even just get up, take me a nice bath, meditate. So it's my time in between those hours. And then in the evenings, I try to plan ahead. Okay, this evening, like yesterday, my husband cooked. Okay, so when I got off of work, then I worked on my tea business. If he wasn't going to cook, then I probably would have cooked. So that's my family time, to cook dinner, to have dinner. Then when everything settles down, I work on my business. So you have to have a little bit of discipline in order to make things work, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
So discipline, time management, and you have to make it fun instead of, I remember years ago, somebody would have told me, you got to get up at 4:30 or 5. I would have looked at them like they were crazy. I'm getting up in just enough time to shower, get dressed, and get in traffic and get to work. No time earlier than that. I used to hit snooze probably like 8 times in the morning. Now I'm either probably 4 out of 5 days, Monday through Friday, I'll set an alarm, but I'm up before the alarm goes off. That's just, just for backup. But I don't hit snooze anymore. I hardly set a morning alarm. Before, I used to hit snooze 8 times to get up in the morning. And I used to say, I hate getting up in the morning because guess what? I'm not a morning person. I always tell everybody that I'm not a morning person, you know. So you got to stop it. You got to really say, hey, I'm getting up because I have a purpose. And when you do that, you enjoy it. I love getting up early.
It's so funny. You went from I'm not a morning person to I love getting up early.
Yeah.
My favorite way to describe this, Kareema, and let me know if this resonates with you as well, is that people that say they don't want to get up early. I got to get up at 6 o'clock. Are you joking? I'm not going to get up at 6. I'm not going to get up at 6 o'clock. I'll get up at, like you said, 7 o'clock, just enough time to take a shower and get in traffic. That's fine. But if they've got a vacation booked, which requires them to get up at 3 o'clock to get to the airport by 5, they're jumping out of bed.
Yep.
Oh, I can't. I've got no energy.
Yeah.
You said it. You hit the purpose, right? You hit
Nick, they get to the airport 2 hours early, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. With a big smile on their face.
Yeah. I'm going to Cancun, you know.
So Coach, wrap us up a little bit here. Like, what are your biggest takeaways in terms of Kareema's fantastic story here?
Yeah, the term that you used was rigging the game so you can't lose. I like to call it burning the ships. You know, you show up to a new place, there's no turning back. Like put yourself in that situation where you have to move forward, share your ideas with people, bring other people in on your plans, and create some expectations for you to rise to this level maybe that you've never achieved before. Because if you do it for the right reasons, like Kareema says, if you're passionate about it, there's no doubt that you're going to rise to the occasion. Being true to yourself makes the game not losable.
Yeah, absolutely. And gosh, it's the process of the morning time, creating the time, just saying no.
Right.
I've got a full-time job. I've got like my family time. If I want to make a difference, if I want to make this work, I've got to create the time. And you do.
You do.
You have me time and you do it. So I love that. That's super impactful. You'll find that anyone that's successful, that's made a transition, has had to create the time.
Right.
Like oftentimes when we think about moving from one thing to another, changing career or starting a business, we think about where you are right that second to the moment when all you're doing is that new thing.
Right.
And that's why people sometimes think of it such a leap, but there's so much to transition through that process. And as you said, it's just doing small things, Kareema. You said that, just doing small things.
Yep.
And building that. Awesome stuff. And Kareema, for you, I'd love to get your thoughts. You shared a lot of great stuff today. What might be one or two of your biggest takeaways here?
My biggest takeaway is don't overdo it. Don't force yourself to be, you're not going to have a big company like Amazon overnight. You have to, look how he started. You have to start small. You can't rush the process. You're not going to be a millionaire in a week. So just take little baby steps at a time, get up early, stay up just a little later, but don't forget about the family time and the me time. You have to have me time. You can't just work. You got to have time for yourself where nobody's talking to you. Nobody's ringing your phone. So, take time out for yourself to regroup. And just you got to put the work in. You can't just think it's going to happen overnight and somebody's going to hand you $1 million. You have to put the work in.
There it is. You got to put the work in. Fantastic stuff. Really appreciate you sharing. Super inspiring.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.